Hey there, welcome to my channel, and today we are going to explore the power of nature. What if you could make it rain or shine anytime you want? If you're watching this video right now, you can actually answer that question because you have control over the weather. Now that doesn't mean you can conjure up a snow day in the middle of summer or force a rainbow to appear on demand, at least not yet. But if you had those powers, what would you do with them? Would you help farmers grow their crops or stop a big storm from ruining a family picnic? Maybe you'd use your powers for good, or maybe just to prank your friends. Haha, you're gonna be late for school. Before you can control the weather, you need to understand how it works. The first step to mastering weather magic is learning about the different types of weather. Rain, snow, sleet, and hail are all forms of precipitation. Basically any kind of frozen or liquid water that falls from clouds in the sky. Clouds are made of tiny water droplets or ice crystals floating in the sky. When they get too heavy, the water falls to the ground as precipitation. Different temperatures create different kinds of precipitation. If it's warm enough, you'll get rain. If it's cold enough, you'll get snow. But wait, there's more. Air moving across the Earth's surface creates wind. Wind speeds are classified by how fast the air moves. Meteorologists, which is the fancy name for weather scientists, measure wind speed in miles per hour or kilometers per hour. Low speeds are gentle breezes. Higher speeds can become quite dangerous. That is, unless you're soaring through the skies like a bird or an airplane, then high-speed winds are a great excuse to flap your arms extra hard and fly faster. When air rubs against other air molecules, electrons can jump from one molecule to another. When the electrons find an easier path to travel along, like through a tall building or a tree, they discharge, creating a bright flash of light called lightning. And when all that energy is released, it makes a clap of thunder. But where do these wild weather events come from? Meteorologists study weather patterns around the globe. They look at how the sun's energy hits different parts of the Earth and how the atmosphere responds to that heat. The sun warms the Earth's surface unevenly. Some places receive more solar energy than others, causing the air above them to heat up and expand. Hot air is less dense, so it rises. Cool air is more dense, so it sinks. As the air rises and falls, it creates currents that form clouds and cause precipitation, wind, and even shape the paths of hurricanes. These rising and falling air currents also carry heat from the Earth's surface to the upper atmosphere. Hurricanes, also called typhoons or cyclones, are giant spinning storms with strong winds and heavy rain. They form over warm ocean water and can travel across huge parts of the ocean. Their winds can reach 200 miles per hour or 322 kilometers per hour, but hurricanes are less intense than tornadoes. Tornadoes have been known to destroy whole towns, but their path of destruction is usually only a few miles wide. They look like funnels or giant spinning cylinders of awfulness. And although they can happen anywhere in the world, they most often happen in the central United States. Weather happens everywhere and all the time. It affects every part of the planet. Meteorologists gather data about temperature, air pressure, wind speed, and other weather variables from all over the world. This information helps predict future weather patterns. But meteorologists don't always agree on a forecast. Sometimes there's too much uncertainty in the data, or multiple scenarios seem equally likely. When that happens, meteorologists have to make decisions based on probabilities. For example, the data may show a 40% chance of rain tomorrow. That means that out of 100 hypothetical situations that are just like today, but where tomorrow varies according to the laws of physics, 40 of them involve rain. Now let's say you have the power to control the weather. What problems might you face? What if someone wanted more sunlight? If you're a farmer growing crops, you want lots of sunshine. Crops use sunlight to make their food through a process called photosynthesis. But if the sun is too hot for too long, it can cause crops to dry out. And if there's not enough water, it can cause plants to die. Farmers already work hard to balance the needs of their crops. They schedule planting and harvesting to match local weather patterns. They even select seeds that will grow well in particular environments. If you could control the weather, you could help farmers grow more food. You could block the harsh sun during the hottest days or trigger rain on really dry days. You could even make tiny localized water spouts to water crops without wasting a drop. But what if someone wanted less sun? People who live in higher latitudes, like in northern Canada or Scandinavia, experience months of winter darkness. They only get a few hours of daylight each day. During the winter, some people struggle with seasonal affective disorder, a type of depression that happens when you don't get enough sunlight. If you could control the weather, you could bring light and warmth to people who need it most. You could also counteract extreme heat. If you lived somewhere with hot summers, you could block the sun and make shady areas nice and cool. You could also control wind. If a storm is coming, you could send out gusts to push it away or pull it closer to land. You could strengthen or weaken winds to prevent damage, or you could change the direction of the wind to protect crops or clear away smog from a city. You could even influence the weather in other countries. And who wouldn't want to do that? Of course, that brings up all sorts of problems. If you control the weather, you can harm people or property accidentally or on purpose. If a hurricane hits a coastal town, you can make it stronger to teach its residents a lesson, or just because you feel bad. They didn't vote the way you wanted them to in the last election. Of course, you probably wouldn't do any of that. And even if you did, we can't know for sure because no one knows the real identity of the weather controller. Okay, now let's have some fictional fun. What if you went to a special school where you learned to control the weather? In this story, you're a student at Wizweather Academy. Your teachers are wizards and witches who have mastered weather magic. They teach you everything they know and help you practice your new powers. One day your class goes on a field trip to observe a hurricane. The swirling storm is enormous, beautiful, and terrifying. Can you calm it down? With a wave of your magic wand, you turn the winds into butterflies and watch the storm vanish into a light rain. Another day, the school is in danger of being struck by lightning, so your class practices their storm shielding spells. You focus all your energy. Imagine the power of the storm pushing against you and hold firm. The lightning strikes harmlessly away from the school. Finally, it's time for the big test. You stand before the Council of Sky Heroes, legendary weather wizards and heroes. They ask you to prove yourself worthy of your degree by controlling the weather. You take a deep breath and close your eyes. You think about the weather you want to create. Picture it in your mind and imagine yourself controlling it with your magic. Then you open your eyes and make it happen. Controlling the weather sounds cool, but understanding it is even cooler. Hi, my name is Arthur. I'm one of the authors of a science museum, and I wrote this video for you. If you want to learn more about the weather, visit our website. You can play with our Weather Wonders interactive exhibit. Thanks for watching.